सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज.
The miseries of material existence and the most hopeless conditions of life is the best possible opportunity to turn to God.
Barenknuckle Bhakti presents The Gift of Desperation, a Bhakti recovery podcast. This is a 12-step based Bhakti-oriented space. Here we share our experience, strength, and hope in the spirit of recovery from addictions and associated behaviors. Welcome. Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We're on step 3, guys, of this little step workshop we're doing. Step 3, we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood God. Yeah. Sadly and happily, this is not a one and done. This is something I personally need to do, sometimes on a minute basis. It's, I think, for me, first of all, when we come from step 1, 2, and 3, let me just add that these 3 steps are the very basis of the rest of our program. And step 1 is, in the admittance that we're powerless over our addictions and associated behaviors and that our lives had become unmanageable. Step 2, we came to believe a power greater than ourselves can restore us to sanity, could restore us to sanity. And 3, we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understand God. So let's get that little, I've heard a lot often in the program. We came in step 1, we woke up and we came to believe in step 3. This is a very good way of looking at it. So we finally get beaten into submission, or I got beaten into submission, and then I knew there was nowhere else to turn. So I started to believe that maybe there's something greater out there that can snap me out of it. And when I start to believe and have faith that there is something out there for me, I start to, I make that decision to give my life to that power greater than myself. And what I really love about step 3 is it's the step 2 is the dance of trust, and faith. And once that's a little, all we need is just a little bit. We just need to want to believe that there's a power greater than ourselves that can restore us to sanity. And once we have that, we can start to. I remember in my early recovery, I just started trying things. People were like, pray, and I was like, oh Jesus, this is the most weirdest thing ever, because I wasn't raised religious. I wasn't raised any way like that. So it was very strange ground for me. And yeah, and just good things started happening, very good things for me. That was my experience. Very, very positive things started happening to me. And people who don't believe in power greater than themselves could at least see that I'm asking the universe for help. And in doing so, you open your mind up for the not me, like the total control and the holding on to everything and thinking that we are the doer and thinker and maker and final say in everything, until we have this tragic disaster that is us. Making that decision. I made that decision. I think in almost every 12-step book, it will definitely say we first give our wills and our lives over to the care of drugs, alcohol, codependency. And that was like that for me. I gave my will and my life over to the care of drugs as drugs destroyed me. That's what I did. Um, and I tried for so long to give my will and my life over to the care of myself and struggled so hard with addiction. It just didn't work. And it wasn't until I really made that decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of God and the program, God, good orderly direction, making better decisions. It wasn't until then that my life started to drastically change. And the way that I decided and did things drastically changed. How so? Well, first of all, it allowed me to, let's start with the I. It allowed me to let go of some control and to know that I wasn't the best manager of my own life and feelings, because basically I was being remote controlled by my feelings, my impulses, my addiction, and everything. That's what it was like. It was like as if there was, this destructive nature was the remote control, and I was just answering to its, as a slave to its will. And it wasn't until I realized that in step one, and then started to believe that there could be different in step two, and started to practice that in step three, to turn that kind of self-will run riot and started to turn that over to better, higher thinking. And it was just that simple at first to start making, asking for help from a higher power to please. Sometimes I was forced. I felt I was emotionally forced. I felt as if it was really that there was, the two dogs, you've got two dogs. You love them both very much, but you know, one is nasty and the other isn't. And you feed the good one. You don't kill the bad one, you just feed the good one. And you know, I truly believe that every single person has a higher thought, and especially every addict. And please, just exclude any psychopaths here. I'm talking about the general public. I'm talking about the, 1 in 8 million people who are psychopaths or whatever that is. If we, if we're able to, if we are really able to tune in to the higher thinking, and even if you're getting your higher thinking from the program, if you're getting your higher thinking from hearing people at meetings, if you're getting your higher thinking from some clarity that you gain through prayer and meditation, whatever that is, whatever that higher thinking is, it's really important to take care of those things daily. I started with making my bed. And I started with doing the dishes. And then it went to taking the garbage out regularly and stuff like that. I really had to start from scratch. I was feral when I came into the program. I was feral when I got clean. I didn't have really any discipline. I literally lived my life. I've been on my own since I was 14. So I lived my life doing what I wanted, how I wanted, and when I wanted. Um, and that got me into a whole world of misery and trouble. Um, so when I make that decision, and I can do that on a daily basis, let's take just regular daily things, you know, let's just take a regular old traffic jam. You're trying to get to work and there's some traffic jam there, and what can you do? You can't, you left early enough, you did all the things right, but you're still in a traffic jam. So you've done everything right. Your side of the street is clean, and then those are the powers that be, and you understand that you're not in control of everything. That is like a very clear, black and white, very simple example of a of something you're powerless over and something that you can pray to God about. Those are the really practical things. And there are other things that run deeper, you know. Um, and for me, those bouts of outside circumstances that affect my insides are just a mirror of my insides, and usually just a little snippet of what's really going on inside of me. Um, if I don't get out of myself, I will constantly be in conflict. I am so tightly wound. My whole demeanor, my whole insides are conditioned to be tightly wound. And I've always been the kind of person who I'll let myself get tightly wound until it breaks. And even after 27 years of sobriety, I still take the driver's seat. I make a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understand God. And so this is and this is what I love about that last sentence, as I understand God, which implicates that am not if I don't feel that God is reciprocating, it's because it's my lack of understanding. And that's what it is. And that's why I love that little, it's kind of like a little, uh, it's like a little, you know, reality check at the end of that. We can make a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God, but our understanding of God is limited. It's limited and it will remain limited. Of course, it expands. And depending on my mental and emotional state, it can also, I could also take the driver's seat again. It's a constant, it's not a static thing. It's not a one and done, as I said at the beginning. Um, and it's really helpful to ask at the beginning of every day, God, please come into my life. And when I have any kind of situation which I don't know what to do about, I can always ask God to help me clear my thoughts and make good decisions that that he'll reciprocate with. You know, I've never really wanted to, I've always wanted to have sort of a power greater than myself that that could restore me to sanity. I just looked, that's the second step. So I've always just looked through material things to find it, people, places, and things, and drugs, and all the nouns. I went through all the nouns. None of them worked. And when I gave my will and my life over to the care of God as I understand God, um, I also did it in a very glossed over material sort of way because I wasn't capable at the beginning. And when I entered my first relationship in recovery, I gave my will and my life over to the care of my husband as he understood himself. And this was a very painful awakening at the end of a 17-year marriage, which ended in devastating codependency on both parts. so it's not like, oh, okay, I've given my will and my life over to the care of God, and now everything is, we say in German, Friede, Freude, Eierkuchen, which means like, and everything is just dandy now, and um, that's the thing about this disease. It wants a way in, and it's doing push-ups outside while I'm in here talking with you guys, waiting for me to mess up. I know that sounds stressful, but it is stress, and it is stressful. It is stressful. It's still stressful for me to be on guard, and but that's kind of, I feel, in my life till now, of my understanding. Um, if I'm not on guard, things will creep in and I will start making executive decisions on things that are none of my business, which means I'll do the work and I'll be all up in the results. Mm. I will, as soon as I give my will and my life over to the care of God, I'll take it right back with my actions. Try to get, results that aren't my business. I really feel that when I do have those moments, those beautiful moments of letting go and saying, okay, I've done my work, I've done the footwork, and now the results are up to you. When I'm truly in that space, it's amazing because no matter what happens, I'm okay with it. And I would love to be permanently in that space. I would love to live in that space constantly. Fact is, I don't, though. And it's something that's really peaceful. It's such a peaceful place to be. Mm. If we surrender, miracles happen. When I surrender, miracles happen. I'm so fortunate to have had recovery in my life. First of all, I'd be dead, and then I'd probably be doomed to repeat. And that's what I don't want. I don't want to be doomed to repeat. This is, I believe, and from the tradition that I am in, the Gaudiya Vaishnav tradition, Bhakti Yoga, that we are reincarnated over and over again, basically, essentially, until we learn the lessons. It's also in so many other Hinduistic and Buddhistic religions and traditions. And I don't want to have to do it again. I really don't. I just don't want to have to be here again and do it again. It's so bizarre how sometimes we know what's good for us and we still make bad decisions over and over again. Why the hell is that? I know that when I turn my will and my life over to the care of God, as I understand God, does only good things in my life. It's only brought good solutions. I've been at peace. So what is it? What is it that I do and why I decide not to do that? Why? I mean, it's not, you can't explain it. There is no explanation for that. I mean, we have lots of doctors say it's biopsychosocial. It's a disease of addiction. Yes, 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 we know this. But if we look a little bit more profoundly and maybe on a spiritual level, um, it's kind of our anartas, which are bad habits, things that damage our spiritual life. And I think each and every one of us have whatever you want to call it. And that's the thing. You can call it whatever you want. And however lens, whatever lens you're going to use that works, just use it. And that's what I love actually about the program. That's what I love about Bhakti and about Prabhupada. Prabhupada had said, I'm not here to convince you that Krishna is God. I'm here to convince to help you remember to connect to whatever God you have. That's not verbatim, of course, but that's just the message. And I love that. Just like the program, it's open. It's open. And anyone can decide or not decide. So I hope step 3 was helpful, especially to people who are not that familiar to the program. Step 3 is step 1, 2, and 3 are the actual basis of the program. I think that they're not separable. You cannot separate those 3. And I'm looking forward to doing more of these. All right, guys. I hope you have a fantastic week. And I'll see you soon. Haribol. This concludes another episode. Thanks for listening. In order for me to serve this community to the best of my ability, I welcome feedback. Please write your feedback at bhaktirecoverypodcast@gmail.com. That's bhaktirecoverypodcast@gmail.com. Also, please don't forget to follow and give us a 5-star rating. Share this with family and friends. If you'd like to join our Bhakti Recovery community or just find out what we're all about, please visit our website at www.bhaktirecoverygroup.com. That's www.bhaktirecoverygroup.com. There are no dues or fees, and we meet daily. If you or someone you know is struggling with addictions and/or associated behaviors, you will find links in our show notes to various 12-step programs. Nobody seeking recovery need ever be alone again.
सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज.
The miseries of material existence and the most hopeless conditions of life is the best possible opportunity to turn to God.